During my son's high school spring break, our family traveled to South Korea. My husband had meetings at Jeju National University and in Seoul for work, but outside of those commitments, we were able to enjoy a family trip together. We flew with Korean Air from Washington, D.C., which took about 16 hours. At Dulles Airport, we used our priority pass to access the Turkish lounge, which offered better food options. For mobile data, we purchased an eSIM in advance from Bytesim.com. The next day, we arrived at Incheon Airport in the late afternoon and took a taxi directly to take Hotel Seoul Gwangmyeong, which is near Gwangmyeong Station. The ride took about 50 minutes and cost around 50,000 Korean won. Since Google Maps doesn't work well in South Korea, we downloaded and primarily used Naver Map for navigation. Take Hotel was booked for our family by my husband's acquaintance for his work-related visit. The front desk was located on the 5th floor, where we were able to check in. It had a unique, modern design that is not commonly seen in the US or Europe. The hotel was clean, and the staff was friendly. For our first dinner in Korea, we were tired, so we chose a restaurant just a 5-minute walk from the hotel, Sanuaju Korean Sausage with Sweet Rice Gwangmyeong Station Branch. We ordered sundae, Korean blood sausage, and sundae soup. The food was decent, but the sundae had a slight meat smell, so I couldn't eat much of it. Early the next morning, we headed to Gwangmyeong Station, located right across from Take Hotel, to catch a train to Chongwon Station. Before departing, we had konnamal gukbap, bean sprout soup with rice, at Hyundai at KTX Gwangmyeong Station Branch, which is inside the station. The soup was incredibly delicious. This place operates on a self-service system, where you order and pick up your food yourself. It was packed with people, and although the meal was simple, it was perfect for breakfast. Highly recommended. At Gwangmyeong Station, we purchased KTX tickets to Chongwon Station at the ticket counter. Alternatively, tickets can also be purchased online in advance through letsgorail.com. Before taking the train, we also bought some traditional Korean snacks, hodugwaja, walnut cakes. They were delicious. We also bought a sandwich from a place called Eggbox inside the station. It was so delicious that my son gave it 2 thumbs up. He said it was the first time he had ever tried such an egg sandwich. The ticket was about 30,000 won, and it took about 2.5 hours. The KTX was comfortable and quiet. After arriving at Chongwon Station, we headed straight to the area near Jinnam Reservoir for lunch. After about a 20-minute drive, we enjoyed a delicious barbecue at a place called Let's Play Duck. After the meal, we had coffee at a nearby place called Jinnam Art Gallery. The view was absolutely wonderful. The next day, we had to fly to Jeju from Gimhae Airport early in the morning, so we stayed at Air Sky Tourist Hotel near the airport that evening. We also bought some snacks at the GS25 convenience store near the hotel. The next day, we took the free shuttle from the hotel and arrived early at the domestic terminal of Gimhae Airport. There were many delicious restaurants, and we bought a kimbap and had it for breakfast. We flew with Korean Air, and after about an hour, we arrived at Jeju Airport. The Dole Harabang, stone statue, greeted us. My husband's friend and his family, who are locals in Jeju, came to pick us up at the airport. They continued to show us around Jeju by car for the next 2 days. First, they took us to Nolbom Hyukdwaeji, which was about a 10-minute drive away. We had breakfast there again. We simply followed them for the next 2 days. They ordered oyster hangover soup and various types of gukbap for us, and everything was delicious. After breakfast, we stopped by a place called Espresso Lounge nearby to get some coffee and bread before heading back to the car. We enjoyed eating the delicious bread while driving around. It was so good. First, we went to Ewol Cafe Street, located on the western side of Jeju. There, we were told that Hondam Habian and Janghankyeol Stroll Trail are very beautiful. We were told that Baumil Cafe is famous because it was featured on TV. The water at Hondam Habian was so beautiful. A unique landscape of Jeju unfolded before us. The emerald-colored sea was so stunning that we kept taking photos. It was a place where we all took many pictures together. After exploring Ewol, we got back in the car and drove to a location with offshore wind power, where we stopped to take a look. We also stopped by Hyopji Beach to take a look. It takes about 18 minutes by car from Hyopji Beach to reach the Osalok Tea Museum, which is very famous. Since time was tight, we couldn't visit the Osalok Tea Museum, but we took photos at the nearby Osalok Nakshabat. The tea fields were vast and beautiful. After about 30 minutes from Osalok, we arrived at the Jugmun Resort area. The Jugmun Resort area is home to large hotels and resorts and was developed a long time ago. Jugmun Beach was also a beautiful place with great weather and stunning scenery. We spent some time at the cliff in Jugmun, enjoying the view. We walked to Lotte Hotel Jeju, where we could enjoy a different view. We visited Juzang Cliff next. The weather was great with stunning scenery. On the way to Juzang, we could see the Jeju International Convention Center and Halasan. The coastal view at Juzang was also breathtaking. We got back in the car and headed to the Jeju International Convention Center to look around Jeju Itsuda Food Fair. At Jeju Itsuda Food Fair, there were small shops selling Jeju's specialty products. It was a delightful experience, as you could buy and taste many high-quality local items. I highly recommend it. After finishing the first day in Jeju, we drove 40 minutes north and had dinner at a place called Dogalbai. Jeju is famous for its black pork, and this place seemed especially popular among the locals. It was packed with customers. The Jeju black pork was indeed delicious, with very tender meat. It's traditionally eaten with pickled seafood, which was a nice touch. I enjoyed it, but due to the tight schedule, I ended up overeating and had some trouble with indigestion afterward. After dinner, we stayed at the Jeju University Eric Convention Hall, which was about an 18-minute drive away. This accommodation was arranged for our family by Jeju University. It was very spacious, and we were grateful to stay there for 2 nights. The next day, my husband had a meeting at Jeju University. My son and I explored Jeju University while waiting for my husband, and we took a short break at Mega Coffee Cafe in front of the school. The coffee and desserts in Korea are always so delicious. After my husband's morning meeting, they took us on a second day of touring. Although I can't remember the name now, they took us to a place that served abalone stone pot rice for lunch. Each dish was delicate and delicious, just like the day before. After lunch, we went to Dongmun Traditional Market. You can park at the public parking lot. At the market, we visited the famous rice cake shop, Jiantiakjip, and tried Jeju Omiji rice cake. It was absolutely delicious. At the market, you can buy very fresh seafood at relatively affordable prices. There were many famous restaurants, and they were packed with customers. After exploring the market, we drove for about 25 minutes to Jeolmul Natural Recreation Forest. This place is not far from the city, so many Jeju locals visit it. It was a great spot for a leisurely walk and conversation. After finishing our walk in the forest, we had our last dinner in Jeju at a place called Jeju Sea Gallery. It seemed to be a restaurant popular among Jeju locals. We enjoyed incredibly fresh flatfish sashimi. As expected, Korean cuisine is always detailed and delicious. After dinner, we went to a cafe near our friend's house to spend our last evening in Jeju. The cafe, called Melbuzz, had a calm and relaxing atmosphere, making it a perfect place to unwind. The coffee and drinks we ordered were all incredibly delicious. My son kept saying that drinks in Korea tasted much better than those in the US. The next day, we checked out and took a taxi to Jeju Airport, which took about 30 minutes. After our short but fulfilling 2-night stay in Jeju, we flew back to Gimhae Airport. After arriving in Busan, we had lunch at Hohobagak. We were able to enjoy delicious Korean food once again. That evening, we had Korean barbecue at Isagilbyongga Yonj branch. As always, it was delicious. After spending one night in Busan, the next morning, we took the KTX from Busan Station to Gwangyang Station to head to Seoul. I and my son were visiting Jeju for the first time. Jeju is a very famous tourist destination in Korea that is always crowded with tourists. The Jeju Sea alone makes the island so uniquely different. The sea is pleasant, local, and has landscapes that are characteristically Jeju. I also thought that the natural landscape unique to Jeju is invaluable. This trip was special as my husband had a meeting at Jeju University, and the family of our friends treated us to a 2-day tour and paid for everything, including the hotels. We were thankful to be able to go to where locals only visit. It was a short trip and the itinerary was tight, so I felt we should visit Jeju again and spend more time, going at a leisurely pace.